As many of you know, I'm not a gearhead. Equipment is an unfortunate necessity for taking photographs. It gets in the way of seeing, and I need to use gear that's reliable and produces good quality results, but it's not an end in itself. However, I'd like to show you the way I work. I work very simply. This is how I carry my gear in a think tank. I think this is called a think tank airport something or other. I've forgotten the exact name, but it's a great bag. Think tank bags are made by photographers for photographers, beautifully designed, very well made. If anything does go wrong, it is great service and they'll replace the bag. The best thing about it is it's small and it fits under an aircraft seat. I'm never separated from my gear. I always carry it on the plane with me. In the bag, I carry a couple of cameras, a Nikon D80. This happens to have a 28-300 lens on it, which is not fast. It's a 3.5 to 5.6, and I don't usually like variable aperture lenses, but I'm trying to keep the weight of my gear down, and this provides me a huge focal length range with remarkable good quality. J. Maisel turned me onto this lens. It's a lens he uses a lot, and it's a very impressive lens. My partner has the same lens, and she's not happy with hers because she said it's not critically sharp. I don't have that problem. I think she just happened to get a bad lens, but I've been very pleased. The other camera I carry is a new mirrorless Nikon Z6, which I love. I'm doing an increasing amount of video work, and the Z6 is a great little video camera, and it's also great for stills as well. I'm just doing a big winery job for which I'm having to produce huge, enormous prints, and I'm using the D850 for that because of the high pixel count. The Z6 is half that pixel count. It's not as appropriate for really massive prints. With that, I carry a 14 to 30 millimeter lens for the Z6. It's a beautiful lens, really, really sharp. All the Z lenses that are, well, there are only 4, I think, but each one of them is spectacularly sharp. The best lenses Nikon have ever made, in my opinion. I also have a 105 macro lens. It's a 2.8 macro, which is an incredibly good lens. In fact, I just shot a whole book just using that one lens. I just finished a book on pecans. It's a cookbook and also the history of pecans. And it was all shot with that one lens, and it performed beautifully. Spare memory cards, absolutely essential. I use XQD cards all the time now because both cameras use XQD cards. They're very robust, very reliable. So they're my go-to cards. I carry a bunch of batteries. Again, these batteries work with both cameras, the D850 and the Z6. So I always have half a dozen batteries with me. A charger for the batteries, a little charger. What else do I have? An adapter for using the old Nikon lenses on the Z6 camera. I used a Sony for some time. The Sony, I've forgotten the model, but the Sony mirrorless, which was remarkably good technically. It produced phenomenal results, but I just couldn't get used to it. I didn't like the menu system. The ergonomics were not right. I've shot Nikons for over 40 years. I've got every Nikon camera from the original Fs. And I know them. I've inevitably got a whole battery of lenses that I rarely use, but if I do need to, it's nice to know that I can. The Sony was just a very alien piece of equipment. It wasn't part of me. I took the Z6 straight out of the box, and it felt comfortable. You know, the Nikon Z6, and I'm sure the Z7 too, are perfect for Nikon shooters wanting a mirrorless camera. I also carry some cleaning cloths, microfiber cloths. These particular cloths I've only been able to find in Tokyo. There's a shop in Tokyo called Yodobashi Camera in Shinjuku, and they've carried these cloths for years. I first bought them 20 years ago there, when it's difficult to get really good microfiber cloths, and they still have them, and they're the best. But unfortunately, I haven't found them in the States. I also have a blower brush, because the big problem with digital photography is, as I'm sure a lot of you know, is dust on the sensor. So I go into the menu, lock mirror up for cleaning, start, lock up the mirror, take the lens off, hold the camera down, and give several strong blows into the camera. Close the mirror again, blow off the back of the lens. You don't want to transfer dust from that onto the camera. And there you have it. The other day I realized I had to clean my mirrorless camera, and I spent ages trying to find them where it told me in the menu that I could lock the mirror up. Oh, this is really bizarre. I even Googled it. There was no mirror lock-up function. But then I realized there is no mirror in a mirrorless camera. You know, as soon as you take the lens off, you have the sensor right in front of you. So it's really easy to clean the sensor on a mirrorless. But the downside of that is, I guess, it's easier to get dust on the sensor. And I try not to change lenses that often if I can possibly help it. But that's an immediate source to get dust inside the camera. And that really is about it. Always spare lens caps. A little light if I'm working at night. It's nice. A little LED light is useful. I carry some basic tools, all kinds of little basic tools to tighten things and adjust stuff that often come in very, very useful. And that's about it. I have a variable ND filter, but that's for video, so that I can shoot at low shutter speed to get it comparable to the frame rate. And really, that's it. Some cables, connecting cables. You can never have too many cables. Cables are not infallible. They always seem to be breaking down. Lens shades, of course, which I use. And really, it's that simple. And with this kit, I can work for weeks. Just have to have plenty of memory cards, which are relatively inexpensive now. I use 128 terabyte card, not 128 terabyte, I wish, 128 gigabyte cards, which will last a long time, particularly with the Z6, because it's only 24 megapixel frames. So that's it. That's how I work, and keep it simple.